Welcome to the video where we're going to be talking about revenue, cost, profit function, and marginal of all of these. Marginal means derivative. Remember that. If you see a marginal term, that means we want to differentiate the corresponding function. So for example, marginal profit is P prime. Marginal profit function. That means we're talking about P prime derivative of P, where P is the profit function. So here's a nice example. R, C, and P they all depend on X, respectively, are revenue, cost, and profit functions in dollars, and from the production and sale of X items. We are given with two functions. Revenue function, R of X equals 9X. That means if we're selling, say, 10 items, X is 10, revenue will be $90, 9 times 10. Makes sense. Cost function is a quadratic function. Actually, it's a parabola, as you can see. And cost function tells me how much money I lose or how much money it costs me to create or sell the item I'm working with. And now we start answering all those questions above. A. They ask us to find profit function. Profit function has a formula. Profit function is a revenue function. Revenue is the one that makes you happy because that's the money you actually earn, right? Minus the cost function. Cost function, that's the one that makes the situation more realistic because even though you earn some money, you lost on the way of earning because you had to spend some money while you're producing the item or managing the production or paying utilities and so on. So put this in the box. This is the formula you're supposed to know. P equals R minus C. And now we're given two functions, so I'm going to just subtract. P will be R function is 9x, put parentheses, minus C function is 0.006x squared plus 3.3x plus 80, put parentheses. These parentheses will save you from making a mistake, IA, forgetting to distribute the negative sign. Let's simplify everything. 9, so I will do this way. Usually people put quadratic function first, the function with the higher exponent first. So it's going to be minus 0.006 x squared. Then I have, take your pencil and underline, 9x minus 3.3x. That becomes plus 5.7x. And finally, minus 80. And this is my profit function. Put this answer in the box. P of X. Now put it in the box and probably even write down like this because soon we're going to be differentiating it. So if it's in the box, it's easy to find. B. B asks us to find R of 150, C of 150, and P of 150. All three functions at 150. Remember, X is my number of items I'm producing, selling, and so on, right? So they just gave me that X is 150. For this particular moment, I sold 150 items. So they want me to know how much money I earned when I sold 150 items, how much money I spent while doing that, and also the profit. The profit is how much money I earned minus how much money I spent. So that's actually the amount of money you hold in your hands. So R of X is 9X. Then R of 150 will be 9 times 150. That makes sense. Grab a calculator or do it in your mind. 9 times 150 is $1,350. As a European, I put dollars always at the end. But actually, I know that in America, you put it in front of the number. But as you know, actually, units usually go at the end and sometimes even in parentheses. So we know the answer will be in dollars. The cost function is a quadratic function, so I'm carefully plugging in 150 everywhere I see X. So if X was squared, as you remember, that means 150 should be squared as well, plus 3.3 times 150 plus 80. And grab your calculator and you will see that the answer is $710. Finally, the profit function. Actually, you can just take the difference. To be honest, the profit function can be calculated two ways. Way one, I remember that the profit function is R revenue function minus cost function, right? So whatever made me happy minus how much I lost on the way. That means the profit function will be 135 minus 17. And that is $640. Or way two, if you're afraid that you made a mistake in one of the previous calculations, say you miscalculated revenue or you miscalculated cost function, then maybe you should not rely on these calculations for the third answer. Then take the original function, here it is in the box, in the green box, and plug 150 there, minus 0.006, x squared will be 150 squared plus 5 times 7 times 150 minus 80. Grab your calculator and the answer should be the same. The answer will be $640. The answer is the same, and my first way of doing it is definitely faster, so I like it more. But again, if you made some kind of miscalculation in this first number or the second number, then the third number will also be wrong, so you will not get points for that. That's just the idea to think about. Now, what was the third question? Now find derivative of each function. Okay, let's do that. Derivative, so that's going to be c. They want me to find r prime of x. Let me do it this way. R of x is 9x, right? They want me to find r prime of x, derivative. Derivative or marginal revenue, that's what we're going to call all the C question is asking about marginal. Marginal revenue, marginal cost function, and marginal profit function. Marginal means how fast it is or was changing. Basically, it asks for changes. So derivative will tell us if the revenue is increasing or decreasing, if the cost function is increasing, decreasing, and so on. So if the original function is 9x, derivative of 9x is 9. For you to know, since it is positive, then the revenue is increasing, so you should feel happy about your business, right? It just makes sense. Cost function. Let me fast rewrite it because it's easier to take derivative of something you see right in front of you. And then using power rule, I will differentiate this function. Marginal cost will show me how fast the cost function is changing. So taking a derivative will give me 0.006 times 2x. Remember, derivative of x squared is 2x. And then the constant in front will stay, because when you multiply by a constant, when your function is multiplied by a constant and you differentiate this function, the constant stays. Plus 3.3x will be 3.3, and then 80 is the constant that was added at the end. Since it's not multiplied by any function, it gives you 0, because what is the speed of the constant? 0 speed. That's why the derivative of the constant is 0. That is how fast my cost function is changing, and I can simplify it. 0.006 times 2 is 0.012x plus 3.3. Let's put these answers in the box because soon we're going to be using them again. This is my C prime, R prime, C prime, one more left. P. P of x was, we found it, minus 0.006x squared plus 5.7x minus 80. Marginal profit function will be derivative of that function. Let's speed up a little bit. We already know that minus 0.006 times 2 will be minus 0.012x plus 5.7x will be 5.7, and minus 80 gives you 0. Put this answer in the box. That's my marginal profit function. Found all three. Finally, the last question repeats question B. They want me to plug 150 in all three derivatives, one by one. Okay. Some people like doing it this way. Some people like putting a bar like so, and then they know they need to plug over here. and it's going to be R prime at 150. And then they're going to plug over here, it's going to be C prime at 150. And over here, it's going to be P prime at 150. And they just plug carefully 150 and get the answers. This notation is very nice because you can compare all the answers carefully. But for you, I will write down everything below. R prime at 150, that means how fast my revenue was changing when the number of items was 150. Well, let's look at the box. It's always 9, so no matter I'm gonna plug, the answer is 9. The derivative is constant. And the answer here will be $9 per item. That's the change, how fast it is changing. Before we just had dollars, units. Now we have dollars per item. So for every new item we sell, I get $9 revenue. Makes sense. Now C prime at 150. I'm gonna plug into that box over here. See? It's gonna be 0.012 times 150 plus 3.3, and it gives me $5.10, and I'll write down this is dollars per item. So that's how much I spend every time I create the item, say it's t-shirts and I need to create those t-shirts or something like that. So you see, it's good that revenue per item is higher than the amount of money I actually spending on the cost to create the item. That means I have some kind of positive profit. Let's see. P prime at 150 will be, plugging it in the last box, negative 0.012 times 150 plus 5.7 gives me $3.90, and that's going to be dollars per item. So it means exactly, it's a difference. As you could see, you could just check the difference. It's not actually exactly the difference. Yeah, it is actually exactly the difference. I could also check P prime supposed to be R prime minus C prime. So I could take 9 minus 5.1 and I will get $3.90 per item. That's the second way because we know definition of the profit function. Way 2, way 1, and as always, that's way where we're just using this formula is faster. So what is the idea of this problem? Without taking a derivative, we could find how much money we actually got from creating and selling 150 items for our business. But when you differentiate, you can see how much it changes per extra new item. So for extra new item, I am earning $9 revenue, spending $5.10 revenue, cost function, in cost functions are dollars, and that means the profit per item is $3.90. That's kind of the idea how to explain everything. And of course, you always want to see the final profit result to see the big picture of your business. Is your business successful, or are you wasting too much money creating items instead of actually getting any revenue that will be higher or bigger than the cost function? Okay, good job for watching this video, and I'm hoping it was helpful for you. See you next time.